who likes chocolate, stick around. I'll show you what we're making today. What's up, everybody? As you know, if you've been following my channel any amount of time, I usually cook savory dishes. I'm not a baker too much, I don't guess you'd say. I have done some desserts and things like that. But today, I am doing a knockoff of Little Debbie fudge rounds. So I got to ask myself, can I ketify this recipe? And I've done some research and tried to come out. I used some AI and the things like that to come up with the recipe, and I got this one. But yeah, I wanted to try it out, and we're gonna see how it goes, and I'll get back with you here in just a little bit. All right, let's get going with these ingredients. It's gonna be in 3 different parts. So the first one, this is for the cookie part. So what we have here is we've got a 1/2 cup of coconut flour. We've got 4.5 tablespoons of sweetener, monk fruit. This is what I'm using today. We've got a teaspoon of baking powder, 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder unsweetened, and 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we have 10 tablespoons of butter. And let me just show you real quick. I use butter that come in a stick, so if you look on the thing, I know most of you probably know this, but you can see it measured out for you. That's 8 tablespoons. So what I've done is just got 10. I just measured it on the thing and cut off the last 2. That's just a little tip maybe to help you out. So we're gonna need 10 tablespoons of butter for that. And you want all this to be room temperature. The eggs, the butter, everything room temperature, so it'll blend up really nicely. So let's get on to mixing it up and see what happens there. So I've got a bowl and I've got this to sift the dry ingredients through. You might have one of the old school kind with the handle on it. That'll work great. I'm just kind of making do with what I have here. So we're gonna mix all the dry ingredients and then run it through here, just to make sure it's not clumpy or anything like that. Sometimes baking powder and the cocoa powder will get a little clumpy. We want everything to be nice and smooth. So, and we're just going to do our little thing here. Do some sifting. I ain't done this in forever. But anyway, just push that through, get rid of the clumps there. And then it's real fine now, a little better. All right, now we're going to just add our wet ingredients to it. We're going to throw our eggs in there. Make sure to remove them from the eggshell. I'm just messing with you. I know you know how to do that, but you might not. Put some vanilla in there, and then we're going to put in, I'm going to put in about half of this just to get started, and then I'll add the other half. I got the old hot rod mixer out today. She's going to be making a special appearance. So we'll get this mixed up nice and smooth and move on to the filling. All right, here it is, the good old hot rod mixer. And I'm going to start out on low so I don't throw stuff all over the house. And then I'll speed it up. We're going to go about 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds here. So put on your ear muffs and let's go.
This is the way.
So here we have our cookie dough. I'm gonna put mine in silicone molds. If you don't have that, you can scoop it out into onto a sheet with parchment paper. Actually, I might do one of each, I don't know. But before we start scooping this out, I need to tell you, this needs to rest about 5 minutes after you get done with it. And what we're gonna do is scoop out about a tablespoon and a half. I'm using a scooper. I kind of measured my scooper, and it's about 2, so we'll go with 2 for mine. But tablespoon and a half to 2 tablespoons, whichever. We'll see how it measures out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a scooper and just kind of get it the best I can and put a plop in each one of my silicone molds here. And while I'm doing this, just a little bit of information. If you're interested in a keto, low carb lifestyle, of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm always doing something. And the funny thing about my channel is I experiment and video it. Now, I hadn't practiced this before. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it's always a fun adventure. And so far, I've not had anything that was totally a flop. So yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And also, if you want to know where to get these molds at, there's a link in the description. You can click on that. That is an affiliate link, so if you want to help support the channel, that'd be a good way to do it as well. So all right, we're just going to scoop it on out. And man, I tell you, fudge rounds, if this comes out good, I'm going to be so happy, because growing up I ate way too many fudge rounds. It's probably the reason I have sugar issues that I'm trying to resolve. But all right, I've got that scooped out. I'm going to press them out and see what happens here, see how thick they are. So we're just going to pat them out in there, try to make them even as possible. And I'm not going to film all, I'll put this in fast forward or something, because I know your time's important, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just patting it into a little patty, trying to make it consistent. So here we go. Alright, while I was pressing that out, I got to thinking, these are like the modern size fudge rounds. When I was a kid, man, it seemed like they was that big, but due to shrinkflation, this is probably, I don't know if this is, I haven't bought a fudge round in a long time, so, but these are probably a little bit smaller than what you would buy. And I've got some extra left over from this, so I'm going to try this out in this mold first to see how everything works. And if I'm happy with it, either I'll do a second batch or I might try some on parchment paper. Got the oven preheated to 350. I'm gonna go put these in, and we want to run it to about 8 to 10 minutes, thereabouts. You don't want it to get crunchy, so we want them to still be kind of moist and gooey. So about 10 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm gonna keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Oh, and just another tip, don't just stick your silicone mold in the oven. Put it on a baking sheet, because I've made that mistake before and flopped all my stuff out in the bottom of the oven. It wasn't fun. So just a little tip for you. Let's get them going. All right, now we're moving on to the filling. So what we have here is a cup of butter. That's room temperature. You can see it's softened, or 2 sticks. You can use 2 sticks or whatever, but make sure you don't melt it and try it that way. So a cup of butter or 2 sticks, a cup and a half of powdered swerve. We've got a half a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. So what we're going to do is just basically the same process as before. We'll sift all this stuff first, and then we'll mix it up. So let's go. There we have our dry ingredients. We'll move on to adding the wet stuff here. We'll add the milk and the vanilla. And I'm not going to add all these at once, just like before. I'm going to just kind of incorporate it as I go, a little bit at a time. So we'll start with that. Dig out the old hot rod blender again, made it to another round, so let's see what happens. Actually, I'm happy with it at that consistency right there. So we'll tidy up a little bit and move on to the next step. All right, what we've got now, we've got our cookies. And I'm going to put the icing on the part where my fingers were and patted it in. That way it looks nice and uniformed on this side. So, and then we've got our thing. My little old hot rod mixer was struggling to keep up with that. Like I said, if you've got a paddle mixer, KitchenAid or something, that would probably work a lot better than my old 1970 hot rod. But it got the job done. I did go back and mix it a little more with a spoon. But it's nice and creamy, so we're gonna put this, get the old, I call that a case knife. Y'all probably call it a butter knife, but you know what I'm talking about. So let's get to spreading this on. And the thing about fudge rounds is I like the creamy part the best. So I'm going with this, and I'm going heavy. So there's that. And then put the cap on it and give it a little twist and push down. Like that right there. So don't want to push the filling out the sides, but definitely gonna fill it up. So, and these are pretty sturdy. They are still a little soft. I thought they'd be a little more fragile than that, so I'm glad that they're holding up for the stuff here. So, all right, I'm gonna fast forward here in just a second, and ain't nothing to it. All right, here we go. Put it in turbo mode. All right, we have our cookies put together. Now there's only one step left, and we'll move on to that. Okay, the last step here is a half a cup of chocolate chips. I'm using this brand here. You can pick out your favorite keto ones or that are lower in sugar or whatever. And a teaspoon of coconut oil. We're gonna put this in a microwavable safe dish, melt it, and just drizzle it on top of these. So let's get that going and we'll be done. All right, a half a cup. There we go. And we'll melt this about 15 seconds at a time and stir it up, and make sure we're not just going crazy with it. But there's our coconut oil. So we'll go throw this in the microwave, and I'll be back in just a second. Put my fudge rounds on a pan with some parchment paper just because I'm getting ready to make a mess. But got this mixed up. Took about a minute and a half just kind of going at it a little bit at a time. You don't want to burn it up or nothing. And now we're just going to do some drizzling. Let's see. I'm not that artsy, so it's going to be what it's going to be. So now that we got our drizzles on there, we're going to put them in the fridge for just to let them chill so we can flip them over, and this won't just go everywhere. But we'll do that. That side's chilled in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Just, you don't want it to be a smeared mess all over it when you flip them upside down. So I flipped them all upside down. I'm gonna try something a little different this time. I got a Ziploc bag inside of a mug here. So, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour the chocolate in that. The chocolate's still in a liquid state, so it's not blazing hot. I'm not gonna melt the bag or anything. But I'm gonna pour it in there. I'm just trying this because you saw how nasty and ugly the other side looked whenever I tried the spoon method. But and then we'll take the bag out, and we're gonna create a little piping bag by cutting the tip off. So it's not just a little hack here, and then we're just gonna drizzle like this. And it's pouring out on its own. I'm not squeezing or anything. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Well, here we have the final product. And now you know what time it is? Taste test time. Can't wait. Oh yeah, my favorite time right here it is. Taste test time. So yeah, I have waited patiently for these to chill and to flip them and all that good stuff. Now the most important part is, will it trick my mind into thinking it's a fudge round? Let's give it a try and see what happens. Oh, it's got the right texture. I went way heavy on the filling because I always like the filling the best. So it's very sweet, that filling is. But you know what? It does the job. It tells my brain that's a fudge round. And the chocolate does kind of stick to your fingers, but I think a regular fudge round does too. So no big deal with that. But I call this a win. And like I said, every recipe I do is usually the first one, so I could probably tweak it just a little bit, like I said, make that a little thinner. And the cookie part turned out perfect. So, hey, winner, winner, fudge round dinner. I wouldn't recommend eating it for dinner. Well, how about that? Man, I tricked my brain into thinking I was eating a fudge round. No, it's not Little Debbie's, but for the carbs that's in it, tricks my mind and makes me think it's Little Debbie's, and I'm okay with that. So try them out, see what you think, and until next time, may the Lord bless you.